My name is Parastu Imami, and I'm the host of The Road to Success for Your Highly Sensitive Child. This podcast is about empowering parents of highly sensitive children to nurture their child's unique personality trait and create a path to success. Our podcast provides guidance, insights, and support to help you unlock your child's full potential, fostering resilience, confidence, and a bright future. If you're new to my podcast, please go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2 because they provide information on high sensitivity that all subsequent episodes will build upon. If you skip these episodes, you won't get as much out of this and all subsequent episodes. To book a private coaching session with me, please click on the link in my bio or go to www.pod.co/coach to parents of HSC, all one word. Today's episode is about attachment styles and the importance of raising your highly sensitive child to have a healthy and secure attachment style. So let's get into it. What is an attachment style? According to Dr. Diane Poole Heller, the author of The Power of Attachment style refers to the way individuals form emotional bonds and connections with others, especially in the context of close relationships. Attachment theory suggests that early experiences with caregivers, particularly during infancy and childhood, shapes individuals' expectations and behaviors in relationships. These early experiences influence the formation of what is known as an attachment style. Attachment styles can impact how individuals approach intimacy, seek support, and navigate emotional connections throughout their lives. There are 4 primary attachment styles. The first one is the secure attachment. Securely attached people typically grew up with plenty of love and support from consistently responsive caregivers. And as adults, they're interdependent, connecting with others in healthy, mutually beneficial ways. They're okay both in connection and on their own. They can think with flexibility, can perceive a range of possibilities, are comfortable with differences, and resolve conflict without much drama. They can internalize the love they feel from others and forgive easily. Research shows that around 66% of the US population is securely attached. If you have a secure attachment style, that is amazing. But if you don't, know that you can teach yourself to have a secure attachment style because it is much easier to raise your child with a secure attachment style if you have healed your attachment style wounds yourself. The second attachment style is called the avoidant attachment. People with this attachment style have a tendency to keep intimacy at an arm's length or to diminish the importance of relationships. They often were neglected, left alone too much as children, rejected by their caregivers, or their parents weren't present enough. Avoidants have disconnected. Basically, they have put the brakes on their attachment system. So reconnecting to others in a safe and healthy way is extremely important. The third attachment style is the ambivalent or anxious attachment. For ambivalence, consistency and reassurance are paramount. Now, let's talk about ambivalent, or sometimes it's also referred to anxious attachment style. I used to have an anxious attachment style. As you know, if you listened to my life story in the earlier podcast, you would know that my parents were not giving me love consistently. So they might love me and then they would take that love away, depending on what I've done. And so, or they may not even show their love to me. So it was not consistent. I did feel loved by my parents, but it wasn't consistent. So I was always anxious about whether or not I was going to get their love and attention. So I grew up to have the anxious attachment style. And when I learned about this attachment style, it was so big for me because it really made sense why I was attracting avoidant partners in my life. And so the first attachment style is the only healthy attachment style. So the secure attachment style is what you want to aim for. And the other three attachment styles are they're all unsecure attachment styles, and they're all unhealthy. And usually, when you have the unhealthy attachment style, you attract people and partners, not necessarily just romantic partners, but you attract avoidant partners and relationships. So you will have this dance between anxious and avoidant attachment styles where the anxious person wants to have reassurance and consistency, and they want this person to show them and make them feel safe and show them love all the time and communicate with them, where the avoidant, when they get too close to the person, to the anxious person, they withdraw. And then they come close because they miss that person. And then they get these emotions that are overwhelming for them. So they withdraw again. So there's this dance of back and forth, coming together and withdrawing. And that is the worst thing that you could do to an anxious attachment style, because that triggers their abandonment wound. So it's very rare that someone with an unhealthy attachment style ends up with a partner that is healthy, that has a healthy attachment style. But I have heard of many, many situations where this has happened. But it's more prevalent that the unhealthy attachment styles attract each other. Now, it's really important that if you recognize that you don't have the secure attachment style and you want to work towards that, you can do that on your own. But it's best if you are in a relationship and can do that with your partner. I did it on my own because I was not in a partner when I was working on myself, and I wanted to grow and be a better version of myself. And I wanted to have the secure attachment style because I didn't want to attract an avoidant partner anymore. So I worked on myself, and thankfully I was able to have the secure attachment style and learn to have it. So it is possible. But also know that it's also possible to come to grow into a secure attachment style, even if both partners have the unsecure attachment style. As long as both partners are willing to work on it together and they're willing to put in the work, then yes, they can definitely help each other and both become both have the secure attachment style. Then the fourth attachment style is the disorganized attachment. This attachment style is characterized by an excess of fear, and the attachment system is at a cross purpose with the instincts to survive threat. When stressed, sick, or frightened, a child naturally wants to seek comfort and protection from a loving parent. But what do they do when the same parent is a source of their fear or distress? People with this style can get stuck in a threat response and or swing between avoidance and ambivalence without much of an identifiable pattern. They often suffer from psychological and physical confusion. Disorganized people are often emotionally dysregulated, dealing with sudden shifts in arousal or disassociation, and they can check out. It is essential to note that attachment styles are not fixed and can evolve over time based on life experiences and personal growth. Also, while attachment styles often originate from early experiences with primary caregivers, they continue to influence adult relationships. This is really important to understand because this is not only the relationship that you have with a romantic partner, this is all your relationships. Whether it's a colleague or a boss or a friend or a neighbor, it doesn't matter. It will impact all of your relationships. So, this is even more important that you strive to have a secure attachment style if you don't already have one. So let's get into why it's important that you understand attachment styles. Understanding your own attachment style basically helps you understand whether you have the secure or unsecure attachment style. And it helps you decide whether you want to keep your unsecure attachment style or do you want to strive towards a secure one. And it also helps you, even if you have a secure attachment style, it helps you to understand all the four attachment styles because you might have someone in your life that has the unsecure attachment style. And the more you can understand them, the better your relationship can be with them. So, how do children develop a healthy attachment style? They're born with it. It's as simple as that. They automatically expect that their caregivers will satisfy their needs. The baby uses physical cues such as crying to notify the caregiver that something's wrong, and they trust that they will take care of the issue. Parents who manage to raise children with a secure attachment style simply do not break that trust. So this means that those parents that are really in tune with their child can tell the difference between the cries. When a baby cries because they're hungry versus when they cry when they are tired versus when they cry when they need to be soothed and they're stressed, or whatever else their needs may be. So there are 5 conditions to consider as a parent if you're devoted to raising a child with a secure attachment style. Making sure that your child feels safe. First and foremost, as a parent, you want your child to feel protected. If your child feels protected, it feels safe. Number 2, your child feels seen and heard. Attuned parents can read their baby's cues accurately and respond to their needs accurately. Children learn that when they signal a need, they can expect a prompt, predictable, and accurate response. Going back to my life story where I shared with you that my father would let me cry as a baby, and he wouldn't allow anyone to come and soothe me or to give me what I needed. I learned that I couldn't trust my caregivers, that they were not going to respond to me and they're not going to give me, fulfill my needs. So at that moment is when my anxious attachment style was formed. So don't think that attachment styles can't get formed early on in infancy. They do. There's been many research done on this topic. And as a matter of fact, that's exactly where it starts. If that's when the first time that the baby experiences that their parents are not actually going to promptly respond to their cries and their need. Number three is your child feels comforted, soothed, and reassured. The attuned parent's arms are open and inviting, always. When the child is distressed, the caregiver reassures and soothes the child back to a calm emotional state. And every child is different. So the way you soothe your child may be different than your friend's way of soothing their child. Every child is different, and every child needs a different way of being soothed. So as a parent, you become attuned to what it is that your child needs. For example, with me, my mom knew that to soothe me, not only did she have to hold me, but she would stroke my hair. And this would just right away calm me down. And when she learned that about me, she just continued to do it. Even when I was a teenager, when I was stressed, I would go to my mom and I would say, would you please caress my hair? And the minute that she would caress my hair, my stress level would just drop. So that's really important to know how to soothe your child. Number four is your child feels valued. Feeling valued begins in infancy and is the foundation of a healthy self-esteem. So, parents who raise children with healthy self-esteem repeatedly express their joy about who the child is rather than what the child does. That's so important. Please focus on this. The focus is on being rather than doing. If you have a highly sensitive child, this is even more important because your child will know that they're different than most children. And they may think that this is a bad thing and there is something wrong with them. I often have clients that tell me their child will come to them and ask them if there's something wrong with them. They always say to me, it breaks my heart when my child comes to me and says, "Mommy, is there something wrong with me? I'm so different than others." And so that's where you come in. And that's where you educate them about the beauty of being a highly sensitive child and why it's a gift rather than something that they should be ashamed of or think that there's something wrong with them. And it's so important that you don't just say, "Oh, no, honey, there's nothing wrong with you," but that you explain. You take the time to explain to them because highly sensitive children have an old soul. They really comprehend much more than their age. So whenever you feel that it's appropriate for you to explain as much as you can about the personality trait that they have, the better you set up your child for success. And the higher their confidence level will be, because the more you feel comfort with who you are, and the more you feel comfortable with who you are, the more your confidence goes up. And number five, your child feels supported to explore. So lastly, children need to feel supported to explore their world joyfully and safely. Parents who champion this have deep faith in their child and always provide him or her with a safety net. Deeply involved in their child's life, parents give the child space and thrust them or her towards autonomy and independence. Again, this is even more important for a highly sensitive child because they tend to think before they act. So they may take longer to decide whether they want to participate in a particular activity, like going on a swing, for example. So that's where you come in. You want to give the right level of encouragement at the right time. Timing is everything. You never want to force them to do something they're not ready for. Give them the time they need to observe, process, and decide whether or not they want to get on that swing or not. And if they decide not to get on that swing, it's okay, because they may not get on it this time, but maybe next time they'll be more comfortable to explore. I'm not saying don't encourage them. I'm saying don't force them, and only encourage them after they have had a chance to observe and process. So be on their time and not yours. If you have an unhealthy attachment style, most likely you didn't have a role model of a healthy attachment style growing up. So, how can you know what a healthy attachment style looks like? So, here are 10 signs of a healthy attachment style in adult relationships. Number one, being able to regulate emotions and feelings in a relationship. I know I keep stressing this, but I want to stress it one more time. The sooner you teach your children about the various emotions that they can feel, and you tell them that it is okay to feel each and every emotion, and you teach them that each emotion has a meaning behind it, it has a message to tell you. And the sooner you learn to identify what that message is, the more comfortable you will become with practice to know, okay, what emotion am I feeling? Where in my body am I feeling it? What message is this emotion trying to tell me? What do I need to pay attention to? What caused this emotion to come up? All these exploration is really important, because if you don't address your emotions, you won't have the capacity to do that as an adult. You will if you practice as an adult, because I have, and I now know, my vocabulary for emotions has is like so vast versus what I when I was a child, which I only had two words to explain my emotions, which was sad and happy. So it's not that I'm saying that it's not possible to learn as an adult, but I'm just saying it's a lot more challenging to learn this as an adult than it is as a child, as with most things. So, number two, having a strong goal oriented behavior when on your own. So, this means you're not dependent on someone else in order for you to have goals in your life. Number three, great at bonding, opening up to, and trusting others. So, this is so important because a highly sensitive child has a hard time bonding with others. And the reason is that they see themselves as different than most people. And so, because they don't see someone that is more like them, it's harder for them to bond. But if they have a secure attachment style, they will learn to bond more easily and more readily. Number four, knowing what you're about in life and what purpose you want to fulfill. Now, reminder, this list is about an adult, but how this relates to your child is if your child is comfortable in their own skin and they understand that they have this personality called high sensitivity, and they embrace it and they love it and they feel grateful that they have this because they know they're unique, and they know that this trait brings a lot of amazing qualities with it, then their self-confidence is going to be extremely high, and they're going to have this great feeling about themselves, and they're going to love themselves, and they're going to just exude confidence. And therefore, when they're an adult, they know who they are already. They know who they are. They know what their strengths are. They know what their weaknesses are. I never say that you shouldn't teach your child what their weaknesses are. They should always be aware of their weakness. I am aware of my weakness, but my whole point all along has been don't focus on the weakness, focus on the strength, because that is extremely important for a highly sensitive child. Number 5, you're able to communicate your needs effectively. Number 6, feeling like you have an impact on the world around you. This is again where confidence comes in, because you can't impact the world around you if you're not confident in yourself. Because number 1, you may not even speak up if you're not confident. Or if you speak up, the way you speak is kind of not with the level of confidence that you need to make an impact on others and influence others. Influence requires you to have confidence. You can't influence others if you don't have confidence in what you're saying. Number 7, being comfortable with closeness and mutual dependency. Number 8, actively seek emotional support from your partner and also give emotional support to your partner. One thing I learned when I had the anxious attachment style and I would constantly attract an avoidant attachment style, I learned that I give a lot. And that's part of being a highly sensitive person, but it's also being part of an anxious attachment style. And avoidant partners take a lot. They take and take and take, and they never feel fulfilled. So you definitely want to be able to give and take. It's kind of like your body needs to inhale and exhale. It can't just inhale and it can't just exhale. So you need both in order to survive. And the same thing goes for a secure attachment style. You need to give and receive. Number 9, you're comfortable being alone and use that time to explore. And number 10, you have a strong capacity to reflect on how you're being in a relationship. This is really crucial, especially in the time that we're living, because accountability is lost in this world. Our leaders are not accountable for their actions. Therefore, that trickles down to the rest of the society. So it's really important that you teach your child as soon as possible to have accountability for their action and to reflect on their behavior and their actions and be able to see what role they played in it. And again, take accountability for it. Even as a child, it's important that they learn that as a child. So why is it important that your HSC has a healthy attachment style? We've already talked about this, so I won't go too much into it, but because they're able to do a better job in regulating their emotions. They can have a sense of safety and security. This is basically where having a secure base allows them to explore the world with confidence. They can have less stress and they can trust relationships. And they have a positive self-image. So all of this, emotional regulation, sense of safety and security, stress reduction and regulation, trust in relationships, and positive self-image make a fertile ground for resilience to grow. A secure attachment serves as a source of resilience. Highly sensitive children who have a secure base are better equipped to cope with challenges and setbacks. So, as we close this episode, I want to remind you that you have the power to create a bright and successful future for your highly sensitive child. Embrace their uniqueness, nurture their strengths, and provide them with the love and support they need. Together, we can pave a path to success that aligns with their sensitivity. Thank you for joining us today, and remember, you're not alone on this journey. We'll be here with more insights and inspiration in our next episode. Until then, keep believing in your child's potential because they truly are extraordinary. Stay tuned, stay inspired, and stay committed to setting your child up for success in life. To book a private coaching session with me, please click on the link in my bio or go to www.pod.co/coach to parents of HSC, all one word.